Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I want to talk about incursions. The Division 2's very first incursion arrives tomorrow, and thanks to some new information we got from the developers today about it, I want to preview everything that we know about this new incursion and how you can prepare to tackle this new content when it hits the live game. So if that sounds good, stick around. I'm going to let you know everything you need to know. And if you enjoyed this video and you want more like it, then be sure to click that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. But let's get to this. So the incursion is titled Paradise Lost, and it arrives tomorrow, like I said, on October 3rd, along with the arrival of the Year 5 Season 2 update. There is no delay or start time like some games do with their raids. As soon as the game servers are back up after deploying the maintenance for the update, this incursion should be available. Now you might be asking, what are incursions? Well, they are pinnacle pieces of endgame content. The dev said that they are meant to be harder than legendary missions in the Division 2, and basically on the same level as raids were back when they were introduced. Obviously nowadays a lot of people speedrun them and they're much easier, but going blind into this, it's more or less going to be that same raid experience. Now, if you didn't know, incursions were a piece of content back from the Division 1, and they are now returning to the Division 2. The devs specified that this one in particular was a lot more inspired by the later incursions we got in the Division 1, in that those were a bit longer, they had more complex mechanics. That's what we're going to see here. They did also note that this incursion was led by somebody at Ubisoft who worked on not only those old incursions in the Division 1, but also the raids in the Division 2. So Paradise Lost is absolutely going to be in line with those past Division experiences, and you should set your expectations accordingly. The key difference between incursions and raids is that incursions are 4-player activities, and this new Paradise Lost mission will have matchmaking. So although it might be difficult for that first week or so, if you don't have friends, you can still jump into the game and try this out day one. Now, the context for Paradise Lost is that we're heading to the Merritt Estate, which is the home of a powerful family within the world of the Division, the Murray. Their banners and branding have been everywhere in the game all the way back to the Division 1, so this is super cool that we get this new bit of lore and context. They said that Mackenzie Murray, a member of the family, has created a settlement here, and we need to go in and liberate it from the cleaners who have come in and taken it over. We have previews on 2 of the boss encounters within the incursion. We don't know how many total bosses there will be. This first one is the Lovebirds. It is a pair of cleaners. You can see on the left side there's one that looks more like a sniper, and on the right side one of those heavy units. And the other boss, easily one of the coolest NPCs and enemies we've ever seen in the Division, this flaming hunter. He is standing there with this giant axe just consumed by this purple and pink flame. It looks absolutely epic. I have no idea how this is going to translate into a boss battle, but it does seem like we're going to encounter this enemy, and so that is going to be wild. The devs did say that unlike some past Division endgame experiences, their philosophy heading into this was not to make this incursion a DPS check, and they also don't want it to just focus entirely on puzzles like we've seen before too. Rather, Paradise Lost will heavily be focused around RPG roles, right? How strong is your team composition? And assumedly, these different bosses and encounters will require you and your team to play different roles, put on different builds, and just fulfill those different activities. I'd say there's likely to be a lot of elements of fire and explosions. Those are things that the cleaners excel at, and they are the primary faction we're going to be fighting. And so here are my recommendations. I think a lot of raid-ready builds are going to do really well here, so of course you should have a DPS build on hand. Even though they say it's not a DPS check, you're still going to need to put those enemies down. Beyond that though, it's a good idea to have a healer, a tank build, or at least a support one with a shield that can kind of grant your team bonuses. I think both skill damage and utility builds are going to be very worthwhile, ones that can not only deal direct damage, but can also kind of do a lot of crowd control and just control the different elements of the arena very effectively. And for whatever kind of builds you're bringing in, I think it is a very good idea to consider having hazard protection variants of at least some of those builds. Like I said, we know the cleaners use a lot of fire. I doubt that every encounter is just going to be fire across the entire room, because then people would just only run hazard protection, but I'm sure that's going to come into play at some point, so it's not a bad idea to have that on hand. The devs did say that while on paper, doing Paradise Lost solo should not be possible just because of the way that the mechanics of the mission are set up. You can technically do this with 2 players, but it would be extremely difficult given you're lacking those 2 other players of DPS, protection, all of that. Now let's talk rewards. Why would you want to go in and do Paradise Lost given the immense challenge it's presenting? Well, that is because it is the only place in the game that you're going to be able to get this new Ouroboros exotic SMG. I did a video spotlighting this weapon back when it was on the public test server for this update. I will leave a link to that in the top corner if you want to check it out. But this weapon has some insane stats, a pretty gnarly talent, and it's probably not something you're going to want to miss out on. So the devs said that within Paradise Lost there will be a chest similar to the raid ones, however you can only open it once per week, and when you do that you have a 10% chance to grab the Ouroboros from there. But beyond that, anytime you go through the incursion and you kill one of the bosses or you complete one of those encounters, Whether it's your first run of the week or your 100th, you will always have a 1% chance to get the Ouroboros from one of those. So it's going to be a grind, but I'm glad that they're putting a worthwhile and strong reward into this activity, and it's definitely going to make me want to play it a lot to try and get it as fast as possible. And, my friends, for now, that is about all we know right now about the Paradise Lost Incursion, again coming to the Division 2 tomorrow, October 3rd. I will be streaming my blind run and reaction to this activity tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to see me go through that, then tune in. But for now, let me know any of your thoughts on this new activity as well as any questions you may have. Again, the details we know are limited, but anything you want to do to try and prepare, let me know, and I can give you my advice. That is going to do it for me today, though, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.